Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show, your 24-hour day. Happy Halloween to all you guys out there. Everybody that's out there going trick-or-treating, whatever you may be doing tonight to celebrate Halloween, whether it's giving out treats to the kids. Some adults are going to be along with their kids trying to get, some free candy. But we hope everybody stays safe tonight, most importantly. A lot of stuff going on tonight with these clowns. But, yeah. Nigel, how you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing good. I wanted some candy when I came over here, but I'll live with. I'll make it a whole broadcast without some, I guess.
Nigel, I told you I got a mint for you, bro.
I'm still waiting on the mint.
Nah, bro, you supposed to be supplying candy for these kids, bro. I mean,
I ain't got no kids. I ain't got no kids where I live.
You see, you don't have no kids?
Nah.
How do people? Think about that. How do you supply candy for kids in a condominium area?
I mean, they could come inside and just walk around. I mean, there's plenty of places there.
You said there's plenty of places.
Yeah. I know some people are giving out candy where I live at, but it's not like I guess just like at a house, you just walk around inside of the apartment building.
Yeah, I always wondered that because I remember when I used to. I really truly can't remember how I used to really
You ain't that old.
Huh?
You ain't that old.
Come on.
No, I'm just saying. Seeing you talking like you 30 years old.
Right. Just broke 20. But I'm like I can't. I really try to remember how we used to trick or treat when I used to when we used to live in our apartment. And sometimes it's hard for me to remember because I'm like, dang. I can't remember if we went knocking from door to door. Like I literally had to ask my older brother. I had to ask my parents about that because I can't remember. But I did see some. Like, what as you were driving by, what was like the craziest costume you saw?
Nothing. I couldn't see. It was dark. it's what 8:30 here. It's pitch black outside. I can't see a thing.
Bro, I actually did see a kid that like. Excuse me. I saw a kid that had like the meanest costume. Like I was looking at this guy. I was like, "Yo, that joint looks dumb, demonic." Like, it was like it looked like death.
Oh really? I will say, we had obviously I go to school and I've probably seen more costumes at school than I've seen in the sense of people dressed up. I saw some kids out here right before I got here. Some kids were dressed up, but it was not spectacular. But some people at school were fully decked out. You know how people cosplays getting real big and whatever. So I saw a couple people at school doing that, but nothing too crazy.
That's that. And the crazy thing is, I don't know. Do you know if it's illegal to be a clown right now?
I don't think it's illegal.
Because I saw like some things like they were saying you can't be a clown. Like
I'm sure they're recommending you can't be a clown. I'm not sure they're gonna throw you in jail for being a clown.
I don't know because it's like if somebody considers you a threat, and I see and I've been concerned because I've seen some kids just walking by themselves. I'm like, yo, where are their parents at? Where's their older siblings at? Somebody. I saw this little girl just walking down the street by herself. I'm like, yo, where's the parental supervision?
She grown. She only know adult supervising her.
Nigel,
don't look at me like that.
What you mean? Guys, you see what I did with y'all?
Before we do get on our slate of topics, though, I want to give a shout out. Rudy Henderson. Ever since you came on here and trashed my team and drugged them through the mud, we've gone 2-0. So please call in as much as you can and drag them through the mud some more so we can keep winning games. I'm coming for you. Bruce Lee Bandits, I'm coming for them. Your first loss will be to me. But let's go on and go. Let's go ahead and go on with our topic.
All right. Well, pretty much. Excuse me. So pretty much, guys, our slate of topics today. This was a jam-packed NFL weekend. There was a lot to do this NFL weekend, and also with the World Series and NBA basketball. From our main talking point is going to be on the NFL ties rule. Then we're going to be talking about Derek Carr winning the MVP, Cam Newton and his comments, and Russell Westbrook and the tear he's been going on. But first, we're going to touch on sorry, my throat. We're going to be touching on the NFL ties and how the league, the NFL ties, has played a role so far in the season. And so far we've had 2 ties, and it seems as though a lot of teams are going to be affected by it traversely. When we look at the first tie we had of the season was the was with the Seattle Seahawks and the Cardinals with a 6-6 tie. And ever since then, we've had literally 3 overtime games. And it's on my throat. And then we had an overtime game with the Oakland Raiders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that game was literally they were a minute and 45 seconds away from having to enter overtime for that game.
You mean entering a tie?
Oh yeah, sorry, entering a tie. Sorry, thank you, Nigel. And when Derek Carr threw the touchdown, so you see, and then the Redskins and
Bengals.
Yes, thank you. Bengals ended up having a tie at 27, and another overtime game, which if you watched Sunday Night Football last night, was between the Cowboys and Eagles. So these overtimes are becoming more frequent, but it seems like people are just being kind of left feeling. Not knowing what to really feel because of the fact that you didn't really win, you didn't really lose, and ties do play a role in the end playoff race. So Nigel, what do you think about these ties, and do you think the NFL should do something about their rule or anything?
First of all, no. Ties are so rare since 2012. Do you know how many games have been played, Brendan?
A lot.
Good answer. It's over 1,200.
Okay.
Of those games, you know how many of them have been overtime?
Not many.
5.
That's close.
Very close. Percentage-wise, that's under 1% of their games end in a tie. It's almost half of 1% ends in a tie. It's not happening frequent enough to even warrant a discussion on changing the rule. Mm-hmm. Now, I kind of understand what they're saying. You say I listened to the Redskins game on the radio because I was at work, and then after the game I heard the discussions, and they were saying that they felt like they wasted the game essentially. That they felt the game wasn't due to the fact it was a tie, it was kind of pointless and it didn't really feel like anything happened. Something happened. You were inept for 15 minutes to score a single point, or to get a stop after getting a point. You shouldn't. It's not like they had circumstances like before where they didn't get the ball back and they lost the game or something like that. They had 15 whole minutes to get a bucket. You could not get a bucket to get into the end zone or kick a field goal. Even kick a field goal and you win. You missed a chip shot to before overtime.
Yeah.
If you want to complain after the fact, look at your team first before the other game that was in overtime was a 6-6 game.
Yeah.
No offense. I don't want to watch a garbage offense go into overtime for 15 minutes and then waste more time after overtime because they can't score. So, no, I think NFL, if you can't score within 15 minutes, you know what? That's on your offense. Go yell at your quarterback, go yell at your running back, go yell at your offensive line. Don't complain about the rule.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hear a lot of people say that because of this rule, they feel as though sometimes you're just literally going up a stout defense, or on the other side, you might not be the most talented offense.
That's fine.
So if in those games, you can't really expect teams to, like in the Seattle-Arizona game, that game was literally just a dog-em game.
No, that game was ugly is what it was.
It was very ugly, but it was literally just a grudge match all the way until the end. So if you have but those two teams want to have them be able to decide the outcome, not a tie or.
But they did allow themselves to allow an outcome. They both couldn't score in 15 minutes. They had 75 minutes to put up more than 6 points. They couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Do you want to bleed more minutes into that game? Have it bleed over into another game? Was that an 8:30 game?
Yeah, it was an
8:30 game. So an average NFL game is a little over 3 hours. You're gonna bleed. You're gonna bleed. You're gonna bleed over into 12 o'clock-ish by the time that game's over. That's a 4 hours plus game. Or it's going to bleed over to 12 o'clock at least. On a Sunday night, when people have work on Monday. That's a little, it's just a little too long. And what do you do? Do you just keep playing until somebody scores?
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what you do. And you do in NCAA basketball. Is exactly what you do in the NBA. You keep playing.
You're right.
Yeah, you keep playing basketball. I mean, you keep playing the sport until a winner is decided. Whatever team deserves to win will come out on top. You don't just secede it to a tie just because neither team could dominate the other one. It's just that they were such at a deadlock. At some point, the better team will most likely come out on top. So, and y'all, for my little outburst right there, it's because of the fact that My fantasy football, Jordan Howard. Right now, they're playing the Minnesota Vikings and Chicago Bears.
Are we really gonna detract our conversation for a fantasy football update?
Man, look. The fact of the matter, I'm so blown because the Vikings have one job. Don't let Jordan Howard go out. Just don't let him get more than 8 points, man.
What?
More than 8 points.
So you don't think the length of a game would be an issue?
No. Well, I believe.
No, I also want to say this. One of the biggest complaints for baseball was it went on too long. NFL games now take about as long as baseball games do. NFL games run a little over 3 hours right now. I think it's 3 hours 5 minutes, somewhere around that time frame. So you have no problem with it continuing to go longer than that.
It depends on why it's going that long. Part of the reason why NFL games go so long now is because of the fact that they have so many ads, so many stoppage in times. They have so many commercials, and there's so many moments where an NFL game just seems like it's getting so dragged on. And also because the passing games become so much more prominent in this league today, that it makes. And if you don't have a good passing game, every single game is going to seem like it's taking forever. If a team is not a run dominant team, when you're passing the ball and you have high incompletion rate, then it's not going to be. There's not a lot of completions happening. So this is more dead clock situations. Then you have a 40-second huddle, and then the game just being prolonged for however long. Like that Raider game took so long yesterday because they had 23 penalties. Like that's unreal. That's so unreal. But I think I mean as much as I think players should be kept safe, I also believe the fact that I would want to be able to decide our outcome, no matter how much time it takes for us to do it. And then one team's going to become more tired than the other. One team will keep their legs more than the other one, and that team will most likely be the team that wins. So I think that their overtime rule is kind of and especially if you in the playoffs, you get rid of the rule and the teams just play on for forever.
But once again, this happens less than 1% of their games played so far. So you would want to change for a stat that rarely.
I mean, if you look at different leagues, NBA changes the hack-a-shack rule for about a good 3 or 4 guys in the NBA. So it's something that rarely happens on every team, but they're still changing a rule because those few teams are traveling to places and fans are being forced to watch guys literally go to the free throw line and just botch them, and it's just prolonging games. Mm-hmm. So the NBA's changing rules like that. The NFL has changed rules for quarterbacks for a Tom Brady rule for low hits to people's legs. They changed that for it's only one position on the field. There's only about 32 of them. Actually, maybe only 15 are actually worth noting in the league. Yet they changed the rules.
That's still half.
You said what?
I still have.
Yeah, that's my point, though. For such a small margin, you said only 1% of
less than 1%.
Less than 1% of the games happen. But I'm saying, and the correct position is only one position out of how many guys on the field.
And so I'll say, one.
Yeah,
one player on 32
How many
teams.
Quarterbacks are there in the league?
32.
That's
100% of the teams.
And how many other guys in the league are there? They don't have a specific rule for those other guys.
Technically, then there's 3 quarterbacks on each team.
So there's not always.
There's 2 or 3. So you're still looking at about 80 players in the NFL.
But the point of the matter is the rule is made for one guy. The rule was made because of one dude. That rule didn't come. That happened to Carson Palmer a while ago. That hit that took him out and made him get injured. The minute it happened to Tom Brady, they're like, oh nope, he's one of the faces of the league. We got to change the rule. So they changed the rule. So if you see that people are getting upset about overtimes and that games aren't being decided, then why won't you change the rule in the same retrospect?
I would say every single fact you listed all happened, not even kind of more frequently, way more frequently than overtimes did.
Those hits happened on Tom Brady. Those hits, people weren't getting injured from those hits like that. It was literally Carson Palmer and Tom Brady. So it's not like there was a high injury rate from the low leg hits,
in the knees,
from those low leg hits. From quarterbacks getting hit in the legs like that.
Well, in the bet, it was more than just those 2.
It was literally those 2. Those guys are the marquee ones. And if you want to count Drew Bledsoe, but other than those 2 guys, other than those 3, there's so many other players in the league. And so there've been other overtime scenarios.
You're willing to say right now that those 3 players are the only players that have been injured by hit low.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm saying just as you people are willing to change the rule. It's not even about I'm saying the fact that you're willing to change a rule for such a small population of players on the field. Like, that rule literally only applies to quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and how often do those hits happen?
Those are every team has a quarterback.
No, but that's Nigel. That's not the point. The point is how often do those hits happen? Just like the point of your argument is that these guys overtimes aren't frequent. How often those low hits happen? Those hits don't happen. Guys aren't just diving at quarterbacks' legs all the time.
Tom Brady. Not Tom Brady. Ben Roethlisberger got hit with that last year. Carson Palmer got hit with this year.
You can't. No, you can wrap a quarterback up low, but guys, you can't lunge at a quarterback. But how often are guys lunging at quarterbacks' legs? That's what I'm saying. You can wrap a quarterback up low, but guys aren't lunging at quarterbacks' legs every play. That's what happened on those plays. Guys were lunging at the quarterback's legs. That doesn't happen frequently. Normally, guys are trying to knock the ball out and get a strip sack when they hit a quarterback. So it's not something that happens frequently, but they were willing to change the rule for that. So why can't you change the overtime rule? It doesn't make any sense. And just like now, they're changing the rules. They're trying to make the game more safe in terms of concussions and everything like that. I mean, excuse me. All these cases where how many guys have actually had CTE and stuff like that. I mean, granted, you have to wait till these guys die in order to test for it and find out if they have CTE. It's not like it's something that most of the league has. It's just you want to eliminate those few and far in between circumstances. So that's why it's a overreaction to a minor cause. So because something minor happens, but they realize, okay, this is what's happening from the backlash from the fan base. So we have to have a major reaction. So that's what in turn is happen. If you do that in all those other circumstances, I just don't understand why in overtimes you can't do it, especially if your players are upset with having to do it. I understand if from a safety standpoint, if you're trying to say that playing more time can possibly induce more injury, then I get that. But if you're just saying on its face like, hey, we just don't want games to go too long, then why is the rule different in the playoffs? It just doesn't make sense.
And what is the rule for the playoffs?
You play until somebody scores. If both teams get a chance to score, you play until the other team scores.
Now, do you think they should adapt? Then, do you think they should adapt the college way of doing it, where they get the ball at the 35, or should they do it off kickoff?
I think they should do it off kickoff. The college rule I think is even stupid in itself, because the college rule, NFL guys can kick field goals right from there. Like that, you essentially only have to get 5 to 10 yards after that point. I think even in college they should back it up at least to midfield or so. But yeah, I think you should keep playing until somebody can prove that they can beat the other team. Because just ending things in a tie, like right now, if Seattle was to go into the playoffs and they were, excuse me, sorry, and they were to be paired up with another team that had an equal amount of wins as them, Seattle would be the team that could get into the playoffs because they don't have that loss. So it's like, wait, well, how does that? If the other team is like, well, I mean, just because they have one less loss because of the fact they tied, they are better than us when we had the same amount of wins. Like, that just doesn't seem to be right. But y'all, we're gonna take our first break of the night. It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show your 24-hour day. Up next, we're going to be talking about a potential MVP candidate who many of you may not have on the top of your list as MVP for the NFL, but maybe he should be. But stay tuned, y'all. It's KBR Sports.